All right. Sean McVay. Interesting. 'Cause Sean McVay is how old is he? He's good quote. He's 36 years old. Okay. And Rob, he said he's getting married this summer. And you have sound of this, Rob? Okay. He's 36 years old. He said he's getting married this summer. And because of that, Rob, he wants to really, be there for his family, start a family, be there with his kids, his wife. And so for that reason, Rob, he's contemplating retirement. Now, I think he would come back at some point, but he's won a Super Bowl. He's been to two. He obviously will be able to come back and get a job whenever he wants to. So I respect that. If indeed he steps down, I'm not saying he will. I kind of, I lean toward him coaching again, next year.
But the thing is,
if he does, I think I respect that for your family. If that's what he wants to do.
Ever since Chucky, right, John Gruden got that crazy contract, Chris. I'm not saying as a coach, but the life he had, he was the highest paid.
Oh yeah,
at ESPN, he was the highest paid employee at ESPN before Stephen A. Late.
Right.
But before that, it was John Gruden, and I think he was making $6 or $7 million, whatever it was. But the point is, that's a pretty nice life without the aggravation of football.
Man, you aren't
okay.
Like, and I always think
seriously.
this about like in the NBA, Jeff Van Gundy or Hubie Brown, whichever coach you want to name. Right, you're right. I mean, I can call games and make millions, and I don't have the stress of, coaching, of getting fired, the criticism,
right.
You know what I mean? Like
Tony Romo has the greatest job in the
you.
United States. He has the greatest job, Chris, in the United States. He does 17 games for CBS.
Right.
And he makes $17 million. And you only work, Chris, 4 months a year. You only travel on the weekends to the games, right? You got the I mean, are you kidding?
You are absolutely right.
Researchers.
He's making more than he made. Yeah.
Right. And they're throwing you information, Chris, and they have researchers.
And you know the
and
game
all kind of
left
people,
and right.
The
Obviously,
game.
they still study. You know how it is. You got to know all these players.
Right.
But they know the game. I mean, it's taking candy from a baby. So I agree. I mean, and that's the talk that McVay will get a TV job if indeed he does retire. Why couldn't he be Gruden, Rob? He's been more successful, I think.
That's my point. Is exactly, Chris. I think that somebody talked to him, hey, you're a young guy, you're a good-looking guy, you know what I mean? You got the hardware now. You can market yourself and have a long TV career. John Madden quit, Chris, after what, 10 years and had a and was
a phenomenal
coach. Most people don't even remember him as a coach. When he died, they had to remind people of what a great football coach he was, but he made a broadcasting career and was tremendous at it.
Now, do you agree that McVay, at his age, 36, that's really, I mean, because he started so young, he's still the youngest coach in the league. I do think he would come back at some point. But, what's your opinion on him? Now he's got the Super Bowl. He's been the golden boy. We've talked about it. You had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay and you were getting a head coaching job. Zach Taylor was under him. He worked with Kyle Shanahan. So what is your take on McVay, if indeed he does step down? He's had a heck of a career.
Yeah, so far. I don't know how great he is as a coach, and I'm talking about clock management, plays, like I've seen. It's like we talk about Shanahan. He's not as bad as Shanahan, Chris, who was his last 3 playoff games been outscored 53-0. You remember we talked about that. But there's stuff in Sean McVay where you go, I don't know if that was the right play. What are they doing? Shouldn't they eat clock? They still gave the ball back to the Bengals with 1:25. Maybe there's a lot of things that I think inside. No, I get that. But inside the game where people can question when he got undressed by Bill Belichick. Remember, he scored 35 points. They didn't make an adjustment enough of an adjustment in the second half, if you remember that game. And so I don't know how great he is. They just mortgaged everything, which is fine because they got what they wanted, which was a Super Bowl. But I don't know. The jury's out for me. If I had to pick one side or the other, I'm going to say he's not one of the great football coaches. he was a guy who they saw potential in.
You mean all time or right now?
Yeah, right now. I wouldn't say he's like, I wouldn't say he's like the greatest coach. And I think that there are other people in the NFL, not just me, but people who are in the game who look at the technical stuff, who might feel like that as well. I'm not convinced yet that it's about him. Some coaches you look at, and I'll give you the perfect example. To me, I think Bill Parcells is one of the all-time great coaches. And Chris, he only won with the Giants, and he won those 2 Super Bowls, right? He went to the Super Bowl with the Patriots. But I remember, like, everywhere he went, Dallas and the Jets, they all got better. I remember the Jets were 1-15 under Rich Kotite, and 2 years later, Bill Parcells gutted the roster and had them in the AFC Championship game against Denver. And then the next year, his quarterback, Vinny Testaverde, got hurt, Chris. So that was like, it derailed the rest of, their next step. But I can look at a guy like Bill Parcells and see that he can build a team and he can coach. And I'm not, if it wasn't for a star-studded roster, I don't know for sure that McVay would be
disagree
that
more.
guy.
I couldn't disagree more. I don't know what you're judging it by. I mean, the Rams hadn't made the playoffs when he got there in a dozen years. Aaron Donald was there. They had other good play. Jared Goff was there. They were 4-12 the year before McVay took over. He takes over. First year, they go 11-5. Second year, they're in the Super Bowl. I mean, again, what are we judging by? It's about results. They had a lot of these players before, and they were terrible. And he took over and immediately turned them around. Now, yeah, he hasn't been around long enough to do what Parcells did in multiple places. But to say, and I get it, even if you wanted to say he's not one of the all-time great coaches just because he's only coached for 5 years. But to say he's not one of the best coaches in the league right now, that sounds ridiculous to me.
Yeah.
I mean, clock management, we can talk about Andy Reid's clock management. We can talk about a lot of players, people's clock management. We can criticize a lot of coaches for a play call here or a play call there or a game where they weren't prepared. How about Bill Belichick? What was it, 47 Buffalo put on him? 2 straight games they played the Bills, never made him punt. The great Bill Belichick? Yes, Belichick undressed a very young, green Sean McVay in the Super Bowl. No doubt about it. But to reach 2 Super Bowls in 5 years, that is unbelievable with a roster that would, largely a lot of it was 4-12 when you took over. And yeah, they went all in to get top players this year. Well, OBJ got hurt. Von Miller was looking like a shell of himself before he got to the Rams. He got healthy and really played well. Robert Woods got hurt. They lost their top 2 tight ends. Cam Akers was out for most of the season. Like, they brought in freaking Eric Weddle, who had been retired for 2 years.
Yeah,
and he's starting. I cannot take anything away from Sean McVay. The dude has the highest win percentage of any active coach. That includes Belichick. It's 68%, 67.9. He's 10th all time in that regard.
Yeah, but my point is
that 2 Super Bowls,
also
won. I mean, come on. Got there with Jared Goff.
If you give a lot of coaches the roster and team that he has, I don't know about
Chris. The team was 4-12 when he took over, right?
Yeah,
you give a lot of coaches a 4-12 team, they're going to make them 11-5.
No, but that doesn't always mean Jeff Fisher was a bad coach. It doesn't mean that Sean McVay was maybe Jeff Fisher was a bad coach.
Coaches because they missed the playoffs for 12 straight years.
So just because somebody shows up, Tony Dungy was in Tampa Bay, Chris. And he couldn't win. And they brought John Gruden in.
That's all there is to it.
You think John Gruden was a great coach? I'm asking you. You asked John Gruden? Yeah, John Gruden. He won a Super Bowl. Why, Chris?
Yeah, but his team was really good before he got there. Now you can't say that about the Rams.
But he pushed them over and won the Super Bowl. Tony Dungy couldn't do it. He showed up. They won the Super Bowl. And then
Rob,
what happened?
You can't compare what Gruden did.
No, you
Rob,
just told me that. I'm saying
yell.
is,
You don't have logic, so you scream.
No,
go ahead.
Let
me know when I can talk.
It calls passion. That's all. If you want to have
your passion cuts people off.
If you want to have fuddy-duddy radio, go ahead, Chris. Talk to yourself.
All I'm saying is when
talk
let
to
you
yourself.
talk, that's all I'm saying.
If you want fuddy-duddy radio,
go ahead.
Do it.
Go ahead. I'm not gonna walk away like you, but when it's my turn to talk, let me know.
No, we got to go to a break. It's 14 after.
I determine when we go to the break.
Let's go to a break. It's 14
I determine
after.
when we go to the break.
Let's go. Let's go to
all right,
a break.
If you're done, you want a break, then stop. But I'm not done. Tony Dungy had taken Tampa Bay to the cusp. All right, they were a great team. And then John Gruden steps in and wins the Super Bowl. To compare that to what Sean McVay did is ridiculous. The Rams hadn't made the playoffs in more than a decade. Not just with Jeff Fisher, with several coaches. They were 4-12. They hadn't had a winning season in over a decade. His first year, they're 11-5.
Chris,
his next year, they're
Cincinnati go to the Super Bowl.
You broke. Go ahead. Go eat your bologna sandwich.
They were 4 wins just last year in Cincinnati. See, Zach Taylor, the greatest coach, they went to the Super Bowl. Wow, Zach Taylor's a genius.
I don't know.
Zach Taylor's a genius. He's the greatest coach ever.
Okay, all right. Okay, since Rob isn't taking, now he's taking his break. Good. Zach Taylor, y'all reason with me, people. Reason with me. They were 4-12 under Zach Taylor, Rob. Okay? You're comparing apples to oranges. You're smarter than that. Yeah, they were 2-14 under Zach Taylor, 4-12 under Zach Taylor, and then this year they did a good job, finally. They weren't 4-12 under Sean McVay. My goodness, if you want to debate, will you bring some logic? Will you bring some reason? Will you bring some intelligence? Sean McVay is not a good coach. What does he have to do? I mean, really, what does he have to do?